Make sure we're all buttoned up nice and tight right here. Welcome to Bolts Breakdown. Brian Burns, beat writer for TampaBayLightning.com. Jay Recher, 95.3 WDAE. Some of the Maple Leafs guys are still on the ice. Probably the guys that won't be in the lineup tonight. Big game for the Lightning tonight as they face their Atlantic Division rivals, the Toronto Maple Leafs. One of their rivals. I think it's a budding rivalry, I think is probably the best way to put it. But before we get into that, Burnsy, let's talk about the last game that the Lightning had. Dallas Stars, I mean, you're coming off of that loss on Sunday to the Islanders where the defense left a lot to be desired. And then, not the greatest performance, I think, against Dallas Stars. But, hey, when you don't give up any goals, you're going to be a hard team to beat. And I thought the Lightning did a good job in that aspect.
Yeah, kind of an opportunistic performance as far as, the offense never really got clicking, but great play on that first goal. Braden Coburn up ahead, off the wall, banking it to Yanni Gourde. He just kind of one-touch passed it to Stamkos, a little bit of speed, and a great move by Stamkos. And over to Palat for the one-timer. And that's kind of what this team does, man. You keep them down for 19 minutes, and then somehow they find that one play where they unlock you, and it's just boom, it's in the back of your net. But obviously Andrei Vasilevsky had a phenomenal game, but I didn't think he was tested too often.
Not a lot of great A's.
Yeah, right? not that many. I thought the Lightning defense did a good job getting him in shooting lanes. Thought they were doing a really good job of keeping everything to the perimeter, not letting those in-close chances happen. And then the penalty kill. I mean, it was just for the first 30 minutes of that game, there wasn't a penalty, and then all of a sudden it was one after the other. They penalty all came fest. And they were all against the Lightning. And, the penalty kill was out there for pretty much the entire second half of that second period and a little bit of the third period, and just a phenomenal job by them. I didn't have time to go through it and add up all the shots that Dallas had on their power plays, but I would suspect they probably didn't have over 5 shots on 6 power plays. I mean, the Lightning were that dominant of a penalty-killing group in that game, and just a good, solid win. And I think one of the best stats about this team, they've only lost consecutive games once this year, and that was all the way back in early November. It's whenever they lose a game, whenever they have a subpar performance, they always come back strong, and they always nip those losing streaks in the bud before they have a chance to really get going.
Brian Burns, Jay Recher here with you on Bolts Breakdown. Again, we always love to hear from you. Where are you watching Bolts Breakdown from? Put it there at the bottom of the screen. Also, share this on your Facebook. Let's get the message out and make sure that we're being the Thunder around the world. Jordana, hey, from Hollywood. Joe D'Angelo from Palm Harbor. Yoko, what's going on? And Tommy Larson, as always, watching from Stockholm, Sweden. Lisa Stocker, Kristofic, watching from Maryland. I like it. Nashara, hi
part
from
of Maryland,
Brandon.
Lisa?
What part?
I used to work in Frederick, Maryland.
He wants to know. Nashara McClabe, hi from Brandon. We just left the arena after a chance to watch today's morning skate. Awesome. You probably saw me and Burnsy chopping it up over there. Shout out to Jerry from Bradenton. So again, put where you're watching Bolts Breakdown from on the bottom of the screen, and also share this. Put shared there at the bottom so we know you're helping us out to spread the word. Robert Guest in Spring Hill and Aaron Plymale in Atlanta. And kind of piggybacking off what you were saying with that game, I was talking to Bobby the Chief Taylor, and we were talking, I don't know if we talked about this, just you and I, or whether we talked about it here on Bolts Breakdown, but this thing really could have went off the rails after that 2-game losing streak, because the next day, that's when...
I think you and I were talking about that. Yeah,
I think after that loss in Buffalo, because the first loss came here against Ottawa. Yeah. That was when Ottawa went up.
When they gave up 4 goals in the third period.
It was 2-0 Ottawa, and then the Lightning scored 4 in the second, and then they gave up 4 in the third. And then the next game was the game against Buffalo in Buffalo that they lost. Yeah. And then that very next day, that's when Andrei Vasilevsky got hurt. And that's when everything could have really went off the rails there. But it didn't happen. I mean, Louis Domingue goes in the next game. He wins that one, and he just keeps winning. I mean, he's got 15 wins, right? 15? It's 15 or 16.
16. He's
16 now. Yeah, 16 wins now for Louis Domingue. He's been incredible this year. And you look at some of the other names. I mean, I think there's 4 guys. I told Chief this last night. There's 4 guys tied for 9th in wins in the league at 17. He's got 16 right behind him. I mean, it's really incredible. And you think, where would this team be without Louis Domingue? And also, you got to give a lot of credit to the veteran leaders on this team, because they don't let that losing snowball into a really bad streak. So you see a game like Sunday night against the Islanders, and you come right back, and you have such a good defensive performance against Dallas on Tuesday. And John Cooper was asked that from some of the Toronto media. And the media, for those of you who don't know, it expands when the Canadian teams are here. Burnsy knows. He's got to worry about all that stuff. But especially when Toronto's here. I mean, there's just more.
Toronto,
Montreal,
sure.
the two big media contingencies that always show up here at Amalie Arena. One of the questions to John Cooper this morning was, are you worried that your team hasn't faced a long losing streak to kind of test their resiliency, test that championship medal? And Cooper answered that. I thought the best answer that he gave is, we kind of deal with that diversity in game.
Mm-hmm.
And you see sometimes, they go down and they're able to fight back. And even other times when they're up big and then they give up, like we see in the Philly games, and they're able to hang on and they're able to win these games. So I don't think you necessarily have to go through long losing streaks to really test your team's mettle and test your team's resiliency, because I think the Lightning are a pretty resilient team. You saw that in Tuesday night's game. And, one thing that I asked John Cooper today, and we were talking about this earlier this morning, was Matthew Joseph. And I looked up his stats, 3 points in the last 10 games. He's a -2, one of the few players that is a minus player in the last 10 games. Doesn't look like he's going to be in the lineup tonight. I asked John Cooper, I was like, what do you think about Joe and his game? And he goes, well, he wouldn't be here if... I mean, it's a pretty standard status quo answer. But, if you kind of read between the lines, I felt like his demeanor changed a little bit because he kind of knew, I guess, that he wasn't going to be in the lineup tonight. And that's why I asked him it. But how would you assess Matthew Joseph's play? I feel like he started out strong, and I think it's kind of tailed off a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's pretty normal. You're talking about a rookie player. Last year was his first pro year in Syracuse, and this year it's his first NHL season. I think anytime you have a rookie that's coming in, hasn't played a lot of pro seasons, they're going to hit a wall at some point. They're not used to playing the condensed schedule that they play up here in the NHL. They're not used to playing the amount of games that they play up here in the NHL. So I think he's been fine. I think it's just a case where now you've got everybody healthy. They're kind of doing this rotation now at the forward position, just like you've seen with the defenseman. It looks like Braden Coburn's going to be the defenseman out for tonight. Eric Chernak back in the lineup. That third pair was Mikhail Sergachev and Anton Strawman. Pretty strong third pair there.
Sure is.
So I think you're just seeing that natural rotation at the forward position. Like Adam Ernie was out for the Dallas game. Joseph was in. I think you're probably going to see Ernie, Joseph. Who's the other one? Those two will probably
Ernie,
rotate
Joseph,
in and
Callahan.
out. Maybe
Miller.
Callahan just to save him a little bit.
Yeah.
I know they did it on that second half of the back-to-back with Buffalo and the Islanders, just because the nature of his injury from previously was one where, playing back-to-back games like that, it's good to give him a night off and let him fully recover from that. So I think you'll see that forward rotation continue here a little bit, at least while everybody's healthy. But going back to what you were talking about, when things could have gone off the rails, like you even look in the next game after Vasilevsky got hurt, they're in Pittsburgh. They went down like 2 or 3 goals early in that game. And they got like the benefit of some power plays where they had some 5-on-3 time. Remember, Braden Point had that that power play hat trick where he scored a couple goals on the 5-on-3 and then one right after the intermission. I think he got like 3 goals in like a minute and 30, something like that, all on the power play. But that game could have gone off the rails. You look at the Philly game where they were up 5-1 in the third period, like 10 minutes left. They give up 4 goals there, have to go into overtime. Like, there were opportunities for this thing to maybe go in a different direction. But, credit to Louis Domingue, credit to, like you said, the Lightning leadership group from getting everybody together. And, who would have thought that team would have gone like, it was 11-1, 11-2 when Louis Domingue was in net and Andre Vasilevsky was hurt. And
you would have taken
back.
500.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's what we were all kind of saying. If this team could just kind of go 500 for a month here until Vasilevsky gets back, that's pretty solid. And then Vasilevsky comes back and has that otherworld performance the last time the Lightning and Maple Leafs hooked up.
And we'll preview that game here in a minute. We want to take a question or two. So if you have a question for Bryan Burns, beat writer for TampaBayLightning.com, Recher 95.3 WDAE, get those questions in now. Brian Doyle, like and shared the Thunder from Virginia Beach. Thank you, Brian. Tim Alashir, I can't pronounce anybody's name. Port Clinton, Ohio, checking in. Lisa, thank you. Robert Guess, how about Yoko? Bobby Dignar watching from Brazil. Ian from Largo. Matty Gammon from Sudbury, Ontario. Really awesome to see how many different parts of the world that we can talk to here on Bolts Breakdown. Again, let us know where you're watching it from. Share this thing. Put share just like Brian Doyle did at the bottom of the screen. And if you have a question or two, Brian and I will definitely do our best to answer it. Make sure you follow Brian on Twitter at BBurnsNHL. You can follow me at JRecher. We'll be tweeting all throughout the night and all throughout the day. So, I mean, we always have... There's no shortage of things to talk about. Timothy Turoff, what players are you excited to see come in next year? Cal Foot, Barry...
Barboulay.
I was going to say, I was like Barry. I think he meant Barboulay, but yeah. I'm excited for,
Yeah, I want to see the progression of Cal Foot. I thought,
Yeah.
this training camp, he looked, like a rookie coming in, and but apparently, I haven't watched Syracuse play, but apparently reports are that he's been getting a lot more comfortable up there and is taking more of a leadership role in that team and has played some really good hockey. So excited to see how he comes into camp
Was he
next
player
year.
of the week or player of the month?
Yeah,
just a couple
something
weeks
like
ago?
that. I think
Yeah.
player of the week, but excited to see how he comes in next year, how much different he looks, how much more confidence he's gained. Volkov is a guy that was, right on the cusp of earning a spot out of training camp. Excited to see if maybe he can make that jump, kind of that Matthew Joseph jump.
Who's that next guy?
Yeah,
And
it
you
seems
look
like
at,
there's always a guy. It was
Yeah.
Yanni Gore, and it was Braden Point before that. There's always that guy that's coming up that's kind of that next guy that can kind of make an impact here for the Lightning.
Yeah, is it a guy like Taylor Radish, Boris Kachuk?
Yeah, another
Mitchell
couple of
Stevens?
guys.
I mean, there's a bunch of
Stevens
guys.
has been dealing with some injuries, but he's another guy that plays a good two-way game, could be a really valuable kind of fourth line player until he gets his feet wet in this system. So, yeah, there's a lot of, talented players coming in, and they're going to need that. You've got
for sure.
these you've got the salary cap questions coming up. You need those younger guys coming in on those rookie contracts that can fill in and kind of supplement those higher paid players that you have.
Robert Guest, your question about Bernsey, that was Joe Smith, who was up in Syracuse with the Crunch. Shaney from Northport, hello, how are you? Yi Hua Outerbridge, Jaipur, India. How many of the players roughly play golf, and who's the best? You know?
Pretty a good
A lot of
portion
them, right?
I would say like 70%.
You know what strikes
do.
me would be a good golfer? Anton Strawman.
Yeah, I don't know. He's
I'm gonna
actually
ask.
one that I don't know if he
No, he
plays
might
golf.
not.
He's a big soccer guy.
So is Hetty, man. I told Hetty today he might be going on a trip coming up here soon. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag in case the boss is watching because I haven't asked him for time off yet. But, yeah, if you're watching, boss, sorry about that. But, yeah, I told him about that. So he's a big, big soccer fan. I know some of the Toronto media was asking Hetty about that earlier today as well. Brian Doyle, does it seem like the guys are being played more physically by teams than normal? And is that hurting the guys' productivity? I don't think it's any different than what we've seen, right?
I think teams are just trying to be harder to play against with this Lightning team. I think they realize that you can't
so fast.
You
man.
can't let them get through that neutral zone with any speed. You have to really clog things up and just be difficult to play against if you want to have any kind of chance against this Lightning team. So I think it's just I don't know. It's necessarily a mentality where teams are like, we're going to try to be physical. I'm sure some teams go in thinking, if we can be physical, maybe we can eliminate some of that speed game that the Lightning play with. But I don't know. There's like a league-wide thing where they're like, we got to be physical against the Lightning to have any kind of chance. I just think it's a product of clogging up the neutral zone, just being difficult to play against.
My man Frank Fury, what's up, boys? I met Frank at breakfast a couple
Oh,
weeks
yeah?
ago. Good dude, big Lightning fan. What do you think about Ernest wants to know? Brian Boyle, any chance him coming back?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. That would be awesome, though. I love Brian Boyle. We were there. I think you were there after the skills competition last year, and he was there, and he was taking off his pads. He looked up, and there was like 3 people from Tampa. He was so happy. He was like, hey, guys, what's going on? It was such a great dude, and wish him well. I mean, New Jersey's really struggling this year, so, hey, you never know. Crazier things have happened. Tough game tonight for the Lightning against the Maple Leafs. I know they're on a little bit of a dip, but they are going to really come into Amalie Arena and try to win this game. It's a big game for Toronto. They have this game circled on their calendar. What's the 3 keys for victory tonight for the Bolts?
Yeah, the biggest one for me is you got to stay out of the penalty box, something the Lightning didn't do in the Dallas game. And phenomenal job by the penalty killers in that game. And like I said earlier, Dallas wasn't really able to register anything shot-wise when they had those power plays. No real high grade A scoring opportunities. Just a phenomenal job by the Lightning penalty kill, but you can't do that. You can't take 7 penalties. You can't go on 6 penalty kills, especially against a team like Toronto. They're top 10 for power play. Dallas was more in the middle of the league, so that's a big one for me. You got to stay out of the penalty box. Number 2, just kind of maintain that same defensive approach that we saw in the Dallas game. Eliminate the net front presence. Didn't see much of that at all from the Stars. Get in shooting lanes. Be disruptive. Active sticks. Keep everything to the outside. You saw a lot of perimeter shots from Dallas, but you didn't see anything super close. And obviously, Andrei Vasilevsky had a phenomenal game when anything did come his way, but I thought the Lightning defensively as a whole did a really good job as a group, just kind of eliminating what the Stars wanted to do. And then third key for me is finish strong, and what I mean by that is the Lightning have been kind of on the road a lot here for the last month and a half, maybe even 2 months. They got the Western Canada trip right before the Christmas break. They come home for 2 games after that break. Then they go right back out on the road for a long trip in California. Then they only get 2 more games back at home before they're right back out on another 3-game road trip. Had to change time zones again in Dallas. I think they only change time zones now one more time. For the rest,
and it's not all the way out
St.
west.
Louis. Yeah. So all the time, like everything else is the road trips are going to be on the East Coast. So that'll help them going down the stretch here. But they've gotten those long road trips out of the way. You got 2 more games left at home before you go on that long extended break around the All-Star game. Obviously, the guys are looking forward to that break. You get to this point of the season, it's nice. I mean, they've got 11 days there where they can rest up, go on a little mini vacation, and get ready for the grind of the second half of the season and what we think is going to be a long playoff run. So finish strong here. Don't overlook these 2 games. You've got 2 really good teams coming in Toronto and San Jose. You don't want to lose both of these games to go into that break on a little bit of a down note, especially the way they played through this first half of the season. So finish strong here, go into the break on a high, and come out refreshed and energized and ready to go for the second half of the season.
Not going to be easy against 2 teams like Toronto and San Jose, who have been near at the top of the conference, each of their conferences this year. My one to watch is actually looking in a kind of a different way. Jake Gardner, the defenseman for the Maple Leafs, he is struggling big time. Fans are booing him. He had a huge turnover in the game the other night. I mean, I think he's a heck of a defenseman. But he is just in that little bit of a funk right now. I'm keeping an eye on him tonight because I want to see the Lightning attack him. You, as a defenseman, and I didn't play at the NHL level, but I did play defense. I didn't play in hockey growing up, and confidence is such a huge thing, especially stepping up in the neutral zone. And I think that's a huge kind of key to victory for either team tonight. Is whoever wins the neutral zone battle is going to probably win this game. You can't back in because these 2 teams have so much speed. You let Kucherov, and Stamkos and Braden Point get a full head of steam, Toronto's going to be in trouble. You let Austin Matthews, John Tavares, and Mitch Marner get a full head of steam, the Lightning are going to be in trouble. So who's going to stand up at the blue line and not let those teams come in with a full head of steam? Who's going to stand up and not back down? That's going to be huge. So making sure you go out, I think it's 51, right? Is that Gardner? Yep. 51, Jake Gardner. Yeah, I knew it was 51. Keep an eye on him tonight. Check out his confidence with the puck. If I'm the Lightning and knowing what he's going to, because it's a pretty big story in the NHL right now because of, Toronto's a pretty polarizing team. And you look at him and he's a good player, contract coming up. He's struggling. So if I'm the Lightning, I'm going after these guys, and I'm going after him, and not in a malicious kind of way. But if I see I'm going into the zone and I see Gardner's on side, I'm going to try to attack him and attack. If he's weak at all mentally, I'm going to try to expose that. If I'm the Lightning, because it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to have that playoff type feel tonight. It's just 2 really good teams, and just when you think you have it pegged, like it's going to be just like last time. It could be totally different. I mean, that game was so fast-paced, up and down. Vasilevsky had to stand on his head. Remember that unbelievable save on Patrick Marleau, which
the scorpion kick save.
Probably going to be the best save of the year. One of the best saves you're going to see in this game of hockey. But I'm expecting a really exciting game tonight. We'll take 1 or 2 more questions here on Bolts Breakdown. Bryan Burns, Jay Recher here with you, so feel free to put them there at the bottom of the screen, and we'll answer your questions for you. John Zaleski, go Bolts. I feel bad for Tommy Larson. Good, hate the West Coast games. They start at 4 in the morning for me. Sorry, Tommy. I know that's got to be tough, but you know what, man? We do appreciate you watching us here on Bolts Breakdown. Robert Guest wants to know, question, do you guys feel we play more aggressive and physical in the games when Chernak is in? Do you see a difference? I mean, he wasn't in that last game, and I thought they played pretty physical in that game against a team that has some big guys that play with some skill. So I don't know if it's necessarily a big change with the team, but he definitely, certainly adds a physical presence when he's out there.
Yeah, I mean, Chernak plays a more physical game. So, by bringing him in, naturally, I think the team as a whole is going to be a little bit more physical. But I don't think it's something where the rest of the team, it translates to them. I think that's just more what Eric Chernak brings to the lineup.
He's some player, man, and it's good to see him back into the lineup. And
it's good to see Mikhail Sergachev offensively here the last few games. He really got it going, and it was after he got that first goal. You could tell he he got that monkey off his back a little bit, and he's been pointing with regularity since that game. You just imagine this team now if Mikhail Sergachev gets going. if Eric Chernak can get on the board and maybe he gets going a little bit offensively, although that's not necessarily what you need from an Eric Chernak, but you look at the blue line and what Ryan McDonough's been able to do, obviously what Victor Hedman can do. Anton Strawman hasn't been pointing as much as he has in past seasons, but he's coming off that injury and he's playing better. But if you can add a Mikhail Sergachev and his offensive game to get to that next level with this group over the second half of the season, I mean, that's just another, one more benefit and plus for the Lightning.
Without a doubt. Bryan Burns, beat writer for TampaBayLightning.com. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at BBurnsNHL. You can follow the team at TB Lightning. Go to TampaBayLightning.com for the best news and notes. What's the story on today at TampaBayLightning.com?
Just kind of what I talked about before about just using these last two games, not getting complacent, going off or going into the bye week on a high note, and not letting these two games slip away and then going in with a negative outlook going into the break.
Burnsy wrote a really good story on the equipment staff and the training staff.
It hasn't been written yet, so
no?
I don't know if it's good yet.
Oh,
I've
come
been
on.
reporting on it.
I was going to say, I thought you wrote it.
No, but it's going to be for the bye week. So
okay, there you go. It's coming. A little preview, all right?
I got a little
spoiler alert.
Behind the scenes action in Buffalo. I was able to actually stand right behind the bench in the tunnel.
Great picture.
Watch what the equipment guys do during the game, and got to see when we went from Buffalo to the Islanders game. Got to see once the team. We had to fly into Newark because you can't fly into JFK or LaGuardia. So you fly into Newark, and the team goes off on a bus to the hotel. The equipment guys, there's actually a truck from the New York Islanders. They come, pick up all the equipment off the plane. You get into the truck, everybody packs into the truck, and you drive to the Barclays Center. When you get to the Barclays Center, the guy's asleep in the security booth. There's an elevator that takes you down. You drive truck in, and an elevator takes you down to the event level. The guy who works the buttons, he was asleep, so he comes out wiping sleep out of his eyes.
God.
It's 2:30 in the morning. And those guys, they have to unload everything, get everything into the locker room, put all the equipment in the stalls to get it ready for the next morning. So, it's 3 o'clock in the morning before you're getting into your hotel.
Man.
And so that's kind of what we're going to be writing about during this bye week, just what those guys go through on a night-to-night basis.
Go check that out. It is going to be great. Thank you so much for all the kind words. Robert, Lavdeem, everybody out there. Bryan Burns, Jay Recher. Make sure you follow me at Jay Recher. Follow the station at 95.3 WDAE. Go to 95.3 WDAE.com for the best Bolts coverage. The game will be on Fox Sports Sun tonight, and then also on the radio, up the dial on our sister station, 970 WFLA. WFLA, if you've seen, is now on 3 different FM signals. Do I know them? Not offhand, but go check it out. It is everywhere. Just
105.9 is one of them. 90 took away my old school hip hop station that they had.
We had to expand our Lightning coverage, and we do that for you. That's Bryan. I'm Jay. We'll see you back here. Well, we'll be done, right? Because, Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday game.
Yeah, maybe, we're going to take a break, so we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Get your rest in.
I can get your rest in, but we'll have fun, and we'll have more great Lightning talk for you next time right here on Bolts Breakdown.